So I just sold these, actually 3 pieces on Singular, which is awesome. As you can see, they are all on different surfaces. This one is on wood, this one on a gallery wrap 1.5 inch deep canvas, and this one is on a 3/4 of an inch canvas. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get them all ready to go, ready to ship. This one's going to be framed and wired. This one's going to be painted black on the sides and wired with screw rings. And then this last piece, I'm going to show you a different cool screw technique I do with the wiring and paint the edges black as well. So let's get started. First, we are going to clean these up a little bit because this one's been fine because it's been stored upstairs. These have been stored in my storage area in the garage. I have had them covered, but they still get a little dusty and dirty. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wipe them down a little bit just to get a little bit of the dust off. So I've got a clean paper towel. I've got a spray bottle that is cleaned out. It doesn't look very clean, but it's just water in here. I'm going to give them both a little spritz. A little spritz will do you. And then we're going to just clean off the surface a little bit. So here we go. This kind of freshens up the colors and just removes it of any dust and hair. So I'm just going to kind of go with the grain here softly, with the grain, with the texture, just so I'm not causing any problems. Obviously, if it's a newer painting and it's been drying for a while, see there's some dust on there. So I'm going to turn it around, go to the next part. If it is a newer painting and the texture is not 100% dry, you don't want to do this. But these have been painted for a few years, so they're obviously dry to the touch. I'm going with the color here. As you can see, it's kind of brightening up colors a little bit. Just getting that one layer of dust out. You get right by the texture here on all of these. Texture that comes out very carefully. Now let's give it a look. That seems to be okay. So we'll move on to this one. Let's take a look at this. Seems to be pretty good. And it's dry. I'll give it a little blow because sometimes the little fragments of paper towel will stick to it. I think we're good to go. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the tools I'm going to be using today. It's pretty basic. We're just going to be using a screwdriver, handheld, a Phillips head, not a flathead, ruler. We're going to be using hanging wire. I got 2 different kinds here. We've got these screw rings for one painting. We've got, I'm going to show you a special technique with these screws and washers that I do with wiring on the other one. And then lastly, I've got this frame, and it comes with a little bit of its own hanging material. So we're going to do those 3. I'm going to start with the frame, then I'm going to go into the 1.5 inch canvas with the washers and the screws, and then finish up with the screw rings, and then we'll be done. Let's get started. That is number 1, ready to go. For a more detailed description of how to wire a painting, I go more in depth in one of my previous videos called, you guessed it, How to Wire a Painting. I'm going to show you something kind of unique that I do with this one. Sometimes pieces are a little too heavy, but not heavy enough to do like a major D-ring thing or to do the screw eyes. Sometimes they're a little too heavy for that. So I'm going to just show you a little trick that I do. I use these washers and a small screw, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire around this and then screw it all the way in so it holds it tight. That's a nice little trick. So what we're going to do, we got this measured out at 6 inches. I'm just going to start by pushing this bad boy in there. And then we'll start. Screwdriver. We're gonna start screwing. We're gonna start a screwing, everybody. Right there. You see there's a little gap. Oops. There's a little gap in there, see that? Okay. Now I'm gonna do the other one. Up to there. Okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our wire. We're going to, first of all, measure it out so we got enough on each end. I like to leave about 3 inches or so on each end to do the screw. We just cut it up, and then we're about right there. Maybe you can see where I'm going with this. So I'm going to wind this around twice, okay, and then we're going to just wrap this around. What you're doing is you're basically, I've had some stuff that I use the screw eyes on. It's a little too heavy, or a collector's not as careful with it, and they hang it too hard, and it just pulls the screw out because it's a little too heavy, or they put a little too much pressure. This makes it very strong and durable. So I'm going to make sure there's a little bit of a give here, and I'm going to wind this around. Let's do it one more time. And then I'm going to start doing this. What you're going to do is you're going to screw this all the way in, and it's just going to pull it nice and tight. There you go. This one actually got pulled a little too tight, but that's fine. Same thing here. And now you're good to go. This is actually tight, but the beauty of this is it's hanging out at the same level as this. So even if you have a screw that's very close to the wall, it's still going to get on here. So that's good. So that is piece number 2, and we're going to move on to piece 3. This is what we're doing. Okay. So we're going to this. I gave a little give on this one because these are a little closer. These little screw rings, they're a little bit further in on the wood, so you give a little give so it comes out, so it can be hung on a screw or nail. But we're good to go on number 3. Also, you can maybe see I was having a little trouble with the second screw ring because some of these pieces of wood, they get old or they have a knot in them. They get really tight, so it's almost impossible to get in there. You have to really work it. So I rushed down, got a handy little hammer, got it started that way, and still screwed it in, but it was still so tight that I had to get a glove to kind of finish it off. But that other little trick that I showed you with the washers, that's a great replacement for even this. Even though this is light, you can do the same thing on that one instead of going through all that hassle and hurting your fingers getting these eye screws in there. So there we go. As you can see, this piece completely done, ready to go. We're going to set this off to the side. The last thing I need to do with these 2 bad boys, they're both wired, but as you can see, they're kind of ugly on the side. This one's a little better because it has an underpainting, but I'm still going to paint it black to be uniform with this and the frame over there, as if they're hanging it as a series. Each one will have a black side. So I'm going to show you just really quickly how to paint the sides black. Let's do it. Trick here, if you're in between coats, you need another coat, and let's say you've got to get these out today, and you've got a couple of these to do, you can dry these black sides with a hair dryer. A lot of people do this with the surface of the painting. I'm not sure I'd recommend that because you don't want to get any sort of weird texture cracking or anything like that, but on the side with the black, it's okay by me. So we're going to get started with this. Cover your ears, everybody. So pause, we did one quick one. Now we're gonna do one more quick coating of black, and this one should be good. All right, make sure you're obviously washing your brushes right after you're done so they don't get caked with paint. All right, everybody, so we have 3 paintings ready to go. They look beautiful. They all look like part of a unit now because they're all black on the sides. That's it. Now I just have to wait for the shipping documents, and then I'm going to start boxing them. Tune in for one of my next videos, which is going to be part 2 of actually boxing these all together, protecting them, getting them in the same box so you save on shipping, but also protecting them so they don't get damaged in transit. And yeah, that should be fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit subscribe. Please hit the bell so you get notifications on upcoming videos. And that's it. Hope to see you next time, guys.
Buzzer!